If you want to understand how China transformed itself from a largely rural, fragmented country into a global superpower within a single generation, do not look first at skyscrapers, factories, or technology. Look instead at the roads beneath them, because roads are not just concrete and asphalt, they are decisions made visible. Power expressed through engineering and ambition stretched across geography. In China, roads became more than transportation routes. They became instruments of unity, economic weapons, and symbols of national will, cutting through deserts, mountains, rivers, and time itself. Where once villages were isolated by distance and terrain, highways now stitch together regions larger than entire countries, allowing goods, people, and ideas to move at speeds unimaginable just decades ago. Every kilometer of road represents a political choice, an economic gamble, and a human sacrifice, because building roads on this scale demands land, labor, and relentless coordination. China's road network is not simply the largest in the world, it is one of the most aggressive infrastructure expansions in human history, reshaping landscapes and lives simultaneously. This is not just a story of engineering, it is a story of how movement creates power, how connectivity reshapes destiny, and how a nation literally paved its way into the modern world. Roads are among the oldest tools of civilization, yet they remain one of the most underestimated forces in shaping history, because roads decide who trades with whom, who grows rich, who remains poor, and who controls territory. In China, this truth was understood early and acted upon with extraordinary intensity. Roads matter because they collapse distance, turning isolation into opportunity and peripheries into participants in national life. A road can mean the difference between a farmer selling produce locally or reaching national markets, between a factory surviving or failing, between emergency aid arriving or never coming at all. In China's vast and uneven geography, where deserts, mountains, plateaus, and rivers once divided regions for centuries, roads became the backbone of national integration. Without roads, China's economic miracle would have been impossible, because no industry can scale without logistics, and no logistics can function without reliable transportation networks. Roads also matter politically, allowing central authority to reach remote areas, enforce law, and integrate border regions. But roads come at a cost. Environmental disruption, displacement of communities, and immense financial investment. China's choice to build first and manage consequences later reveals how deeply the country believes that movement equals progress, and that connectivity is the foundation of national strength. China's highway expansion, after the 1,990 seconds, defies historical comparison because no country has ever built so much, so fast, over such difficult terrain. In just a few decades, China constructed the world's largest expressway network, surpassing even the United States in total highway length. Entire cities were connected in years rather than generations, with multi-lane expressways carving through mountains, spanning rivers, and crossing deserts. The scale was staggering, Thousands of kilometers added annually, millions of workers mobilized, and entire landscapes reshaped. This was not organic growth, it was strategic acceleration, driven by the belief that infrastructure creates demand rather than simply responding to it. Highways were built to places that had little traffic at first, betting that connectivity would generate economic activity. In many cases, it did. Industrial zones emerged, logistics hubs expanded, and cities exploded outward along highway corridors. Critics called it overbuilding. Supporters called it vision. Either way, China's highway explosion permanently altered how the nation moves, works, and grows. Beyond economics, China's road network serves a deeper purpose: national integration across vast and diverse territory. Roads connect ethnic regions, border provinces, and remote communities to the political and economic center, reinforcing state presence in areas once governed more by geography than authority. In regions like Xinjiang, Tibet, and Inner Mongolia, highways are not just infrastructure, they are symbols of inclusion, control, and development rolled into one. Roads allow goods, services, and surveillance to move efficiently, strengthening governance while opening markets. For residents, this connectivity can mean improved access to healthcare, education, and employment. But it can also bring cultural pressure and environmental change. China's leadership views roads as arteries of unity, binding together a civilization that spans climates, languages, and lifestyles. This belief that infrastructure equals cohesion explains why road building remains a national priority even as the network grows immense. Roads are not neutral. They carry power, intention, and consequence. In China, they are the physical expression of a country determined to remain connected, competitive, and cohesive in a rapidly moving world. China's road engineers did not simply build around nature, they challenged it directly, carving highways through mountain ranges that for centuries had acted as natural barriers between regions and cultures. From the towering Himalayas to the rugged terrain of southwestern China, roads now snake through landscapes once considered impassable, defying altitude, weather, and geology. These projects demanded unprecedented levels of planning, risk, and sacrifice as engineers confronted landslides, earthquakes, freezing temperatures, and oxygen-thin air. In places like the Sichuan-Tibet Highway, construction teams worked at elevations where machinery failed and human endurance was tested daily. Tunnels were drilled through solid rock for tens of kilometers, while bridges stretched across valleys deeper than skyscrapers are tall. These roads did more than shorten travel times. They rewrote geography itself, shrinking distances that once took weeks to cross into hours. Yet every triumph came at a cost, including worker fatalities, environmental disruption, and ongoing maintenance challenges. China's mountain highways stand as monuments to human ambition, proving that engineering can overcome natural limits, but also reminding us that such victories are never without consequences. China's bridge-building revolution transformed not only how far roads could reach, but how boldly they could cross the world's most extreme obstacles. Massive cable-stayed and suspension bridges now leap across rivers, gorges, and shipping lanes, creating seamless transportation corridors where ferries and detours once slowed movement. Structures like the Baipanjiang Bridge, rising hundreds of meters above the valley floor, demonstrate China's willingness to push engineering to its limits in pursuit of connectivity. These bridges are not simply functional, they are symbols of confidence, projecting technological prowess both domestically and globally. By mastering large-span bridge construction, China accelerated trade, reduced logistical costs, and unified fragmented regions. Entire supply chains depend on these crossings, allowing goods to flow without interruption across vast distances. Yet beneath the elegance of steel and concrete lies intense complexity, as engineers manage wind forces, seismic risks, and long-term durability. Every bridge represents years of design, millions of tons of material, and billions in investment. In building these structures, China didn't just cross physical gaps, it bridged historical divides between regions that once developed in isolation. Where mountains could not be climbed and valleys could not be bridged, China went underground, boring tunnels through some of the most unstable and unpredictable geological formations on Earth. Highway tunnels stretching for dozens of kilometers now cut beneath cities, rivers, and mountain ranges, reducing travel time while avoiding surface disruption. Tunnel construction on this scale requires constant adaptation as crews encounter water pressure, fault lines, and shifting rock. In earthquake-prone regions, tunnels must be reinforced to survive seismic shocks, adding layers of complexity and cost. These underground passages are invisible to most travelers, yet they are among the most dangerous and technically demanding components of China's road network. Tunnels allow roads to maintain speed, safety, and reliability, especially in regions where weather makes surface travel unreliable. They also symbolize a deeper philosophy. When obstacles cannot be moved, they can be penetrated. China's tunnel networks reflect a mindset that sees geography not as destiny, but as a challenge to be engineered away, one drill, blast, and reinforcement at a time. China's road infrastructure extends beyond mountains into some of the harshest environments on the planet, including deserts, frozen plateaus, and permafrost regions where traditional construction methods fail. In the Gobi and Taklamakan deserts, highways cut through shifting sand seas, requiring constant maintenance to prevent burial by dunes. Engineers developed sand barriers, vegetation belts, and innovative materials to stabilize the ground. In northern regions, roads traverse permafrost that melts and refreezes with climate change, threatening structural integrity. Elevated roadbeds and temperature monitoring systems help counter these forces, but long-term sustainability remains uncertain. These extreme environment roads are less about efficiency and more about presence, connecting resource-rich but inhospitable regions to the national economy. They allow mining, energy extraction, and border patrols to function year-round. Building roads in such conditions reflects China's belief that no region should remain inaccessible, no matter how costly the effort. These highways are acts of persistence, extending civilization into places where survival itself is a daily challenge. The sheer speed at which China built its road network is as remarkable as the engineering itself, compressing decades of development into a single generation. Projects that might take years elsewhere were completed in months, driven by centralized planning, vast labor pools, and streamlined approval processes. This efficiency allowed China to rapidly respond to economic needs, but it also raised concerns about safety, quality, and long-term maintenance. Rapid construction sometimes meant cutting corners, leading to structural issues that require costly repairs later. Financially, the highway boom was fueled by government debt and local borrowing, creating obligations that future generations must manage. Yet for China, the cost was considered justified, because delays would have meant missed opportunities in a globalized economy. Speed became a strategic asset, allowing China to outpace competitors and lock in logistical advantages. This willingness to trade short-term risk for long-term gain defines China's infrastructure philosophy: bold, relentless, and unapologetically ambitious. China's highways did more than move vehicles, they moved people on a scale unmatched in human history. As roads reached into rural villages, isolated valleys, and interior provinces, they unlocked migration pathways that reshaped the nation's demographic map. Millions left farming communities for factory towns and megacities, following asphalt arteries that promised opportunity, wages, and a different future. What once took days on foot or unreliable rail journeys became overnight bus rides and affordable commutes. Roads accelerated China's transformation from an agrarian society into an urban industrial powerhouse. Entire generations were uprooted, not by force, but by access. Parents traveled for work while children stayed behind, creating the phenomenon of left-behind families, a quiet social cost of mobility. Yet the same roads also allowed reunion, enabling families to travel home during festivals like Lunar New Year, creating the largest annual human migration on Earth. Roads became emotional conduits, carrying hope, separation, ambition, and return. They rewired not just geography, but the rhythm of Chinese life itself. Modern China's megacities did not rise in isolation. They rose at highway intersections. Expressways linked industrial zones to ports, suburbs to city centers, and workers to employment hubs, allowing cities to expand horizontally at unprecedented speed. Urban sprawl followed road grids, creating satellite towns, logistics parks, and commuter belts that stretched far beyond historic city limits. Cities like Shenzhen, Chongqing, and Chengdu exploded in size, not just because of policy, but because roads made scale manageable. Highways fed cities with labor, materials, and food, while allowing congestion to be distributed outward rather than collapsing inward. However, this expansion came with new challenges: traffic congestion, air pollution, and social inequality between car-owning elites and public transport-dependent workers. Roads shaped who could live where, how long commutes lasted, and how urban space was valued. In China, highways didn't merely serve cities, they structured them, determining growth patterns that will last for generations. While expressways symbolized national ambition, rural roads quietly transformed everyday survival. In remote villages, the arrival of a paved road meant access to markets, hospitals, schools, and government services for the first time. Farmers could sell produce beyond local boundaries, increasing incomes and reducing dependence on subsistence farming. Children could attend schools in neighboring towns, while ambulances could reach patients during emergencies. These modest roads delivered dignity as much as development, yet they also brought change that was not always welcomed. Traditional lifestyles eroded as young people left, cultural practices faded, and consumer goods replaced handmade traditions. Roads introduced outside influences, media, ideas, and economic pressures that challenged long-held norms. Still, for millions, rural roads represented inclusion into the national story, a signal that the state had not forgotten them. These roads may lack the grandeur of expressways, but their impact on human well-being is just as profound. Behind China's road network lies an invisible army of drivers, maintenance workers, toll operators, and construction crews who keep the system alive. Truck drivers crisscross the country for weeks at a time, forming the backbone of China's supply chains, often at great personal cost. Long hours, poor rest conditions, and fluctuating fuel prices define their lives. Roads enable just-in-time manufacturing, allowing factories to minimize storage and maximize speed. But this efficiency rests on human endurance. Maintenance crews work overnight to repair surfaces, clear debris, and respond to accidents, ensuring uninterrupted flow. Toll systems, once labor-intensive, became automated, displacing workers while improving efficiency. Roads created jobs, but they also created precarity, highlighting the human price of constant motion. The smooth journey experienced by travelers often masks the labor and sacrifice that make it possible. Beyond economics, roads serve political and strategic purposes, allowing the Chinese state to project authority, security, and administrative reach across vast territory. Roads enable rapid deployment of emergency services, military units, and disaster response teams, reinforcing state presence in border regions and restive areas. Surveillance infrastructure cameras, checkpoints, data systems often accompanies highways, integrating transportation with governance. Roads facilitate taxation, census operations, and regulatory enforcement, making the state more visible and effective. In regions like Xinjiang and Tibet, infrastructure is both a development tool and a control mechanism, binding distant regions closer to the central government. Roads reduce the autonomy of isolation, replacing it with integration that serves national priorities. This dual role as lifeline and leash reflects the complex relationship between infrastructure and power. In China, roads are not neutral. They are instruments of policy, shaping behavior as much as movement. China's road miracle came at a steep environmental cost, one often overshadowed by the spectacle of progress. Highways slice through forests, wetlands, and farmlands, fragmenting ecosystems that had evolved undisturbed for centuries. Wildlife migration routes were severed, rivers rerouted, and fertile land buried under concrete. The construction boom consumed enormous quantities of steel, cement, and fuel, making road infrastructure a major contributor to carbon emissions. Vehicle dependency surged as highways encouraged car ownership, increasing air pollution in cities already struggling with smog. While electric vehicles promise cleaner mobility, the roads themselves remain carbon-heavy scars on the landscape. China has attempted mitigation green corridors, wildlife overpasses, noise barriers, and tree-lined expressways, but these measures often struggle to keep pace with expansion. The question lingers: can a nation build endlessly without exhausting its natural foundations? China's roads brought prosperity, but they also forced the country into a reckoning with sustainability, revealing that infrastructure without ecological balance carries long-term consequences that no amount of concrete can fully repair. China's highway explosion was financed at breathtaking speed, but speed comes with financial weight. Local governments borrowed heavily to fund construction, betting that economic growth would repay the debt. Toll roads were built not just for mobility, but as revenue streams, turning infrastructure into financial instruments. Yet some highways, especially in remote regions, failed to generate expected traffic, becoming ghost roads burdened by maintenance costs and unpaid loans. This created mounting pressure on provincial budgets, exposing vulnerabilities in China's growth model. While central authorities intervened with restructuring and bailouts, the debt remains a silent companion to the road network's success. Roads accelerated development, but they also revealed the risks of growth driven by infrastructure alone. The challenge now lies in maintaining what has been built, upgrading aging highways, and managing financial sustainability. China's experience serves as a cautionary tale, Roads can fuel growth, but they cannot replace sound economic fundamentals. China's road-building expertise did not stop at its borders. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese firms exported highways, bridges, and tunnels across Asia, Africa, and Europe, reshaping global infrastructure landscapes. From Pakistan's mountain corridors to African trade routes, Chinese-built roads promised connectivity, trade, and development. For many nations, these projects offered long-awaited access to markets and mobility. But they also sparked controversy, concerns over debt dependency, local labor exclusion, and environmental impact followed Chinese asphalt abroad. China now stands at a historic crossroads, where the roads it built over the past 4 decades converge into a single question: what kind of future will they carry forward? These highways once symbolized urgency: build fast, connect everything, grow at all costs. Today, they symbolize maturity, responsibility, and choice. The concrete that stitched together deserts, mountains, and megacities is aging, demanding care rather than conquest. The era of endless expansion is slowing, replaced by an era of optimization, sustainability, and resilience. China must decide whether its roads will continue to serve people or simply sustain momentum for its own sake. This moment mirrors the nation itself, powerful, experienced, and burdened by its own success. Roads no longer just lead outward. They reflect inward, forcing a re-evaluation of what progress truly means in a world facing climate change, resource limits, and social transformation. The next chapter of China's road story will not be written only by engineers or planners, but by people. Mobility is no longer just about speed, it is about dignity, safety, and access. Will rural elders be able to reach hospitals? Will young workers spend less of their lives trapped in traffic? Will cities reclaim space from cars and return it to people? These questions define the human future of infrastructure. China's roads must evolve from symbols of national power into instruments of quality life. Investments are shifting toward public transit integration, pedestrian-friendly urban design, and low-emission travel. The road ahead is about balance between efficiency and humanity, technology and trust. How China answers these questions will shape not only its own society, but offer lessons to a world watching closely. Every road in China carries memory. The paths walked by farmers turned factory workers, the routes taken by migrants chasing dreams, the highways families travel once a year to reunite. Roads remember hardship, ambition, loss, and hope. They are archives of movement etched into the land. As China modernizes further, there is a risk of forgetting these human stories beneath layers of asphalt and data. Yet preserving memory is essential to progress with purpose. Roads should not erase the past, they should carry it forward. In honoring the stories embedded in its infrastructure, China can ensure that its future mobility remains grounded in human experience, not just economic metrics. China's road network offers the world a lesson written not in policy papers, but in pavement. It proves that infrastructure can transform a nation faster than ideology or rhetoric. It also warns that scale amplifies both success and consequence. Other countries studying China's model must understand that roads are not shortcuts to prosperity, they are commitments that shape generations. The true cost of a highway is paid over decades in maintenance, environment, and society. China's experience shows that infrastructure must be paired with wisdom, transparency, and long-term planning. Roads can unite, but they can also divide. They can empower, or they can entrench inequality. The difference lies not in design, but in intent. In the end, China's roads remind us of a simple truth. A nation is not defined by where its roads begin, but by where they are willing to lead. These highways crossed frozen plateaus, flooded plains, crowded cities, and silent deserts. They carried workers, soldiers, students, dreamers, and the weight of an entire civilization in motion. But roads are not destinations. They are questions made of concrete, asking who we are, where we are going, and what we are willing to sacrifice along the way. China answered those questions with speed and scale. Now it must answer them with care and wisdom, because the road never truly ends, it only reveals who we become while traveling it. And as China continues forward, the world watches,